Surely you won't die.
The first lie ever spoken to humanity, whispered by a serpent in the heart of God's perfect garden. With those words, a journey began that would forever alter the fate of mankind. But before man's creation, deception had already taken root, one that shook the heavens and led to the fall of the most radiant among the angels. Long before the world was formed, God created the angels, powerful celestial beings, each given a purpose to serve and worship Him. Among them was Lucifer, the morning star, a being of unmatched beauty and wisdom, adorned with splendor beyond all others. But pride filled his heart. He desired more than his place among the angels. He sought a throne of his own to rise above his Creator. And so he rebelled, and many followed him in defiance. Yet against him stood Michael, the archangel, God's chosen warrior and defender of his kingdom. Where Lucifer sought to elevate himself, Michael remained steadfast in obedience, leading the armies of heaven with unwavering loyalty. Then war erupted in heaven, light clashing against darkness. Michael and his angels charged with blazing swords, their wings slicing through the heavens. The dragon and his fallen warriors roared in defiance, their fury shaking the celestial realm. Blades met with fury, lightning flashed, and the skies trembled with the echoes of war. But they were not strong enough. The tide turned it, and the forces of light pushed them back. Lucifer, now called Satan, fell, his wings scorched, his power shattered. He and his angels were cast down like lightning, banished from the realm of glory. As Revelation 12:7-9 declares, the great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. Banished from heaven, Satan turned his gaze upon the earth. If he could not ascend to God's throne, he would seek to corrupt what God cherished most, humanity. And so, taking the form of a serpent, he entered Eden, deception burning in his heart. And thus, the story of man began, in the heart of the garden. In the beginning, God formed man from the dust of the earth. With his divine breath, he gave life to Adam, the first human. This moment marked the beginning of humanity, a sacred creation made in God's own image. Unlike any other creature, man bore the very likeness of his Creator. God looked upon Adam and blessed him.
You are made in my image. I have given you life, and I bless you. Rule over the earth and care for it.
O Lord, you have given me life. I will serve you.
God placed Adam in the magnificent Garden of Eden, where every creature roamed in perfect harmony. Birds filled the skies with their songs, lions rested peacefully beside lambs, and every beast moved without fear. Playful critters chattered among the trees, while mighty creatures exchanged knowing glances as if sharing ancient wisdom. Adam tended to the land, watching in awe as animals formed unlikely friendships, their voices blending into the melody of paradise. He named each one, caring for them as they lived together in perfect peace, a reflection of God's wondrous creation. At the heart of the garden stood two special trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Yet all around them the garden flourished with abundance. Vibrant flowers, towering trees heavy with fruit, and creatures living in perfect harmony. It was a place of beauty and unbroken fellowship with God.
Adam, you may eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will surely die.
Yes, Lord, I will obey your command.
The tree of life was God's gift, eternal sustenance, a symbol of eternal life with God. But the tree of knowledge was different. It was a test of trust, a boundary. eating from it would lead to death, not because the fruit itself was poisonous, but because it would awaken them to sin, making them choose disobedience over faithfulness. God saw that Adam was alone and said, "It is not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." Then God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam. In what can be seen as the first surgical procedure, God took one of Adam's ribs and formed a woman, Eve. Unlike Adam, who was made from the dust, she was crafted from his very being, a sign of their unity. When Adam awoke, he saw her for the first time and, filled with awe, declared,
At last! This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man.
These words of Adam are recorded as the first poetic declaration in the Bible, a song of joy upon seeing his perfect companion.
You were made from the dust, but I was made from you?
Yes, you are part of me, and yet different, perfectly made by God.
And this place? It's beautiful.
It is Eden, the garden God has given us. He said we are to care for it together.
Thus, God established the first union, a perfect companionship designed by the Creator himself. And God blessed them, saying,
Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it.
From that moment, Adam and Eve stood together, the first man and woman placed in a paradise created for them, a garden where life flourished, and they were given dominion over all living things. One day, as Eve wandered near the forbidden tree, a cunning serpent slithered beside her. This was no ordinary creature. The serpent was a manifestation of the devil himself, as shown in Revelation 12:9 and 22. With twisted words, he questioned God's command, planting seeds of doubt and rebellion.
Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?
We may eat from the trees, but God said we must not eat or even touch the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, or we will die.
You will not surely die. God knows that when you eat it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like him, knowing good and evil.
Eve stood before the tree, her gaze fixed on the fruit. It was beautiful, enticing, and promised wisdom. The serpent's words echoed in her mind. God knows well that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. She reached out, hesitating for a moment. The fruit was good for food, pleasing to the eye, and desirable for gaining wisdom. A deep longing stirred within her, the desire to know, to become like God, and so she took a bite. Sin entered the world, casting a shadow over creation. Eve's breath hitched. Something had changed. A chilling awareness crept in. She turned, locking eyes with Adam. He stood there, silent, watching. The text hints at something troubling. Adam was present during at least part of this encounter. Silent, passive. He didn't stop her. Eve turned, offering the fruit. A silent invitation. A choice.
Eve?
He saw it in her eyes. Something had changed. The choice was made. Now it was his turn. Adam reached out, took the fruit, and ate.
Eve, what have we done?
In that instant, their eyes were opened, but instead of divine enlightenment, they felt shame. The innocence they once knew was gone. They saw their nakedness, something they had never been aware of before. Panic set in. Desperate, they covered themselves with fig leaves, attempting to hide their guilt. As evening fell, they heard the voice of the Lord walking in the garden. But instead of running to him in joy, they hid in fear. The perfect harmony between man and God had been shattered.
Adam, where are you?
I heard you, and was afraid because I was naked, so I hid.
Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree I commanded you not to eat from?"
In a desperate attempt to spare himself, Adam shifted the blame onto Eve. He blamed God's provision for his disobedience, pointing not just to the woman, but to the very gift God had given him, a companion.
"The woman you gave me, she gave me the fruit, and I ate it."
"Eve, what is this you have done?"
The serpent lured me with its cunning words, and I was fooled. I took the fruit and I ate it.
God turned to the serpent.
"Because you did this, you're cursed more than all animals, crawling on your belly and eating dust forever. I will make you and the woman enemies, and your offspring and hers will always be in conflict. Her offspring will crush your head, and you will strike his heel."
As God's words thundered, the serpent writhed. Its legs withered, cursed to crawl on its belly and eat dust. No longer a creature of beauty and deceit, it crawled in humiliation, forever marked by the weight of God's judgment.
"To you, Eve, I will greatly increase your pains in childbearing. With pain, you will give birth to children. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you. And to you, Adam, because you disobeyed and ate from the forbidden tree, the ground is cursed. Through toil and sweat, you will struggle for food as thorns and thistles rise against you. Only through hard labor will you survive until you return to the dust from which you came. For dust you are, and to dust you shall return."
Afraid and ashamed, Adam and Eve stood before God. Their disobedience changed everything, not just for them, but for all humanity. Yet, before sending them away, God showed mercy. He clothed them in garments of skin, covering their shame. And then a mighty angel barred the way, a fiery sword flashing to ensure they could never return. If they ate from the tree of life now, they would live forever, separated from God, bound in sin. So in mercy, God denied them access. And with heavy hearts, Adam and Eve stepped into an unknown world, carrying both sorrow and hope. Outside Eden, life was no longer easy or carefree. Adam labored under the sun, toiling to grow food from the stubborn earth. Eve gathered and nurtured, their days marked by hard work and perseverance. But they did not face it alone. Their love for each other gave them strength, and in their hearts a small flame of hope remained, a hope for redemption and restoration. Eve felt the pains of childbirth, just as God had said, but in her arms was new life, a symbol of both the cost of disobedience and the beauty of creation. Their hearts were heavy, but the gift of family brought a new kind of joy. Through their children, life continued, and with each generation, the story of hope grew stronger. The story of Adam and Eve is not merely one of loss, but of mercy, of consequence, yet also of grace. The serpent whispered its lie in Eden, just as it once sought to exalt itself in heaven. "Surely you won't die," it said, yet death entered the world that day. But even in judgment, God's love endured. He did not abandon His creation. Though banished from paradise, Adam and Eve carried with them something greater than sorrow. They carried a promise. A Redeemer would come, the offspring of the woman who would one day crush the serpent's head. The war that began in heaven had reached the earth, but the battle was not over. From the ashes of sin, a plan for salvation had already begun. And so, the story continued.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through the origins of good and evil. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories of faith, mystery, and truth. See you next time.